Hey, welcome to my office, my Jeep, my office. I just wanted to make a quick video in response to, I've had a few people that have spoken to me recently about their New Year's quests for a lighter, healthier version of themselves. And so I just wanted to talk with you guys for a bit about some ways that can make it more likely that your results can stick. One of the joys about working in the fitness industry around New Year's is that we have a whole lot of people wanting to, for whatever reason, either things have got to a point where they're like, you know what, I can't sustain this anymore, or there was some other catalyst for change where they go, right, I'm on this. Let's get back on the horse. So that's great for me to see in the industry. One of the difficult parts of that is come mid-Feb, certainly March. You can have a guess at the number of people that have been able to make those results stick, or for people that were actually even able to stick with one of the elements that they had started doing at New Year's. So I wanted to talk with you guys about how you can get those results to stick. One of the interesting things from some research from the medical profession is that people who are subscribed life-saving medication, so blood pressure medication, insulin medication to regulate blood sugar levels, have a guess about the adherence rate for people to take medication that they are prescribed by their medical professional. So it's about 50% of rate in compliance in terms of people that take medication that they're subscribed. So even when people have been able to go through a really formal diagnostic process, they've been able to get medication that's prescribed for their needs, the compliance rate is really slim. And we can speculate on a whole number of reasons for that. But one of what it highlights is that even to do something really simple like take some life-saving medication can be really hard. So some of the people that I've spoken to recently let's look through some of the changes that they've wanted to introduce. So one is that for some people that have been reasonably sedentary, they're going to start exercising, and they're going to start exercising in they sort of go hell for leather and end up exercising in quite an intensive way. Then we have people who are on top of that, well, I'll change my nutrition and I'll do everything differently for my nutrition that I've been doing. And you know what, I sit a lot at work, so I'm going to go for a standing workstation, or I'm going to start moving a lot more for work. And you know what, I don't sleep very well, so I'm going to start smashing my sleep as well. And you know what, I stress too much, so I'm going to start getting all that in control as well. So there's 5 major life changes that people are trying to do at one time. So this is not to discourage people from being physically active, because that's obviously a really core part of what I do, but it's about how can we be systematic in what we do, and how can we make some really small incremental changes that are going to make the biggest outcome. So what we found is when people try and change more than one thing, so 2 or more things, that the likelihood of them sticking at those things is really less than 40-50%. What we found is that when people try and change just one habit at a time, the compliance rate or the adherence rate or the durability of that change is around the 90% mark. So if you just to change one, make some really simple changes in your routine or in your habits at a time, and practice that daily over, say, a 2-week period, then you can actually make those habits stick, and all those habits then end up with you being able to get the change that you're wanting. So whether that's to lose weight, or whether that's just to take better care of yourself, or whether that is to get better sleep, or to manage your stress in a more proactive way. So what are some of those simple habits? Now, one of the interesting things I've observed in the industry is that when people decide, people reach that point where they decide, I want to get fit, or I want to get healthier, or I want to lose weight, what's the first thing that they do? Usually that's to join a gym. Now, whilst that's awesome that people are wanting to do that, unfortunately that can be a complete waste of time, because the foundation is not there. So what's that foundation that we're talking about? It's sleep. It's being able to manage stress, it's being able to be well hydrated. Then it comes to nutrition, and then workout. So workout would probably be one of the last things that I would have a crack at, whereas for most people it's actually the first thing that they have they have a go at. So looking back to one of those 5, what would be the most simple thing that you could do for your health and fitness? And one of those things might be hydration. Quite simply, when your body is well hydrated, your basal metabolic rate is increased because your body's performing at a more optimum level. So when you're well hydrated and body's functioning well, then basal metabolic rate is increased, and the majority of our calorie burn, even despite people who are fairly active and training, the most of our calories are burnt at rest. So even of a 24-hour period, even for someone who's exercising really intensely, even for an hour or even 2 hours over the day, most of those calories are still going to be accounted for from their rest level. So if we can make some minor changes to raise the basal metabolic rate, and one of those first simple changes would be to ensure that you're well hydrated. So one of the bits around habit-based coaching is, what habit could we start to form around being well hydrated? So we could have some really simple things that you start to put in place, such as, for the next 2 weeks, every morning I'm going to have a glass of water before I eat, or X volume of water. I'm going to drink. I'm going to finish one of my water bottles before I eat anything. So that for me is part of my routine. What I do every morning is I wake up and I have my apple cider vinegar with my whole water bottle, my 750 ml of water, before I leave the house. Sometimes before I'm even coherent, before I answer any questions from the kids, is I'll get up and I'll have my water. And that's one of the ways for me that I could start to put some habits around how can I stay well hydrated. What I found was that I was just getting to the night time and I was feeling super thirsty and just wasn't getting in the amount of water that I felt like I needed to. So first step is that we can track it. So how much water are you currently drinking? Collect some data on it. Become your own, become the scientist for your own body. How much water are you drinking currently? For most people, that's grossly inadequate, particularly if you guys are putting training on top of it. As soon as you put training on top of your normal activity level, then you really need to be bumping up that water all the more. So for most people, that's going to be 2 to 3 litres a day at least, and for most people, they are a long way from that point. So as I was saying, to wrap things up, most people start with, let's smash this out, let's go to the gym, let's go nuts and start doing high intensity physical training. Super awesome, but there might be some really simple ways that you could start first off, and one of those would be to ensure that I'm well hydrated. Another simple step would be to ensure that I'm well rested. My body needs time to recover. All the muscle growth, healing, recovery happens when you're resting, not when you're training. So that's for another time. We'll leave that for another time. But to start with, one simple thing around hydration, and what are some habits that you could build around there. So if you're looking for some ways to help you do that, I use a systematic way of building those habits fortnightly, so that they become, every 2 weeks you work on a different habit, starting with what's the least intrusive for the most, what's going to give you the most value for your health and fitness goals. For most people, that's around losing weight. So what's going to help you get there? One of the first steps, just staying well hydrated, putting some simple habits so that becomes part of your routine, is to ensure that you get the right amount of water to get your metabolism functioning at an optimum level. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope that's helpful. If there's any way I can help you, you're wanting some more information, just let me know. I'd love to be able to help you more, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'd be interested to see how do you think you could start to apply the practices of just putting some simple steps in place that can lever some bigger change in your life. Alright, thanks for watching. Take care.